Daniel Brooks stepped through the airlock and into the council chamber. The room stretched out before him like a cathedral built for giants. Curved walls rose 100 feet high, covered in displays that showed 1,000 different worlds. Seats lined the circular space in rising tiers, each one occupied by a creature that looked nothing like him. He wore his best suit, navy blue with Earth's emblem on the collar. A small pin sat on his chest, barely visible. Inside that pin, a camera recorded everything. Back on the shuttle, Lieutenant Hayes watched the feed and kept her hand near the emergency beacon. The council members stared at Daniel as he walked to the center platform. Some had scales. Others had fur or feathers or skin that shifted colors. A few looked almost human, but their eyes held something ancient and cold. They whispered to each other in languages his translator struggled to process. Daniel had practiced his speech 1,000 times. He knew what humanity needed. Earth had joined the galactic stage only 5 years ago when a mining ship stumbled across an alien probe near Jupiter. Since then, every attempt at formal contact had been met with dismissal or mockery. The Galactic Council viewed humans as primitives from a death world, barely worth acknowledging. But Earth needed this. Needed access to trade routes, medical technology, and most importantly, protection. The galaxy was not kind to isolated species. "Ambassador Daniel Brooks of Earth," a voice boomed through the chamber. It came from the highest seat, where a massive reptilian creature sat draped in robes that shimmered like oil on water. "You may present your species petition." That was Council Director. Daniel had studied everything available about him. Species had dominated this sector for 10,000 years. They viewed themselves as the architects of galactic civilization. Everyone else was just along for the ride. Daniel cleared his throat and began. "Honored members of the Galactic Council, I come before you representing the people of Earth. We seek membership in the Galactic Union. We offer our friendship, our trade, and our commitment to peace among the stars." A sound rippled through the chamber. It took Daniel a moment to recognize it as laughter. "Friendship," repeated, his voice dripping with contempt. "Tell me, Ambassador, how many wars has your species fought in the last century?" Daniel felt his jaw tighten. "We have had conflicts, yes, but we have also achieved peace. We have united our world under one government. We have eliminated poverty and disease. We have reached for the stars with hope, not conquest." "Hope," another council member spat. This one looked like a floating jellyfish, its body pulsing with bioluminescent light. "Your world is a nightmare of predators and poisons. You evolved in constant warfare. Every creature on your planet tries to kill every other creature, and you expect us to believe you have transcended your nature." "We ask only for a chance to prove ourselves," Daniel said, keeping his voice steady. Had warned him this would be hostile, but he had hoped, foolishly perhaps, that reason would prevail. Leaned forward. His eyes were yellow with vertical slits for pupils. "Your species has nothing we need. You have no technology we cannot replicate, no resources we cannot find elsewhere, no wisdom we value. You are violent, short-lived animals who somehow learned to build starships. That does not make you civilized." "We are more than you think," Daniel said quietly. "Give us time. Let us show you what humans can accomplish when given the chance." The council director's laugh was a hissing sound that made Daniel's skin crawl. "I have reviewed your petition. I have examined your planet's history. I have watched recordings of your people. Do you know what I saw? Endless violence, endless hunger for more. You conquer your own kind for sport. You destroy your environment for profit. You create weapons capable of annihilating your entire species, and you point them at each other." "That is our past," Daniel said, his voice stronger now. "We have grown beyond that. We have learned from our mistakes." "No," said simply. "You have not. You cannot. It is in your nature to destroy, and the Galactic Council will not allow a species of rabid predators to contaminate the civilized galaxy." Daniel felt something cold settle in his chest. "Are you denying our petition?" "I am denying your existence as equals," said. "Humanity will remain quarantined to your solar system. Any attempt to leave will be met with force. You are not welcome here. You are not welcome anywhere." The other council members nodded or made their species equivalent gestures of agreement. Not one voice rose in defense of Earth. Daniel took a breath. "Then I asked to make one final statement for the record." Waved a clawed hand dismissively. "If you must." Daniel opened his mouth to speak, but he never got the chance. Pressed something on his console. A pulse of energy shot from the ceiling and struck Daniel in the chest. His body went rigid. His eyes went wide. Every nerve in his body screamed for one eternal second, and then he collapsed to the floor. The council chamber fell silent. On the shuttle, Hayes watched in horror as Daniel's body twitched once and went still. Her training kicked in immediately. She slammed the emergency transmission button. The recording from Daniel's pin uploaded directly to the shuttle's communication array and broadcast at maximum power toward Earth. Then she grabbed her weapon and ran for the airlock. In orbit above the station, Admiral Gregory sat in the command chair of the S-Guardian. He was reviewing supply reports when the emergency signal came through. His communications officer's face went white as she listened to her headset. "Admiral," she whispered, "Sir, you need to see this." Pulled up the video feed. He watched Daniel Brooks die. He watched the Galactic Council treat murder like someone swatting a fly. He watched turn to another council member and say something that made them both laugh. The Admiral's hands gripped the armrests of his chair so hard the material creaked. Around him, the bridge crew sat frozen, their faces reflecting the same rage and disbelief he felt. Took a slow breath. Then he opened a secure channel directly to Earth Command. When the connection established, he spoke 3 words that would change the galaxy forever. "Protocol 7, confirmed." On the other end of the line, there was a pause. Then a voice responded, heavy with the weight of what those words meant. "Understood. God have mercy on them all." Closed the channel and looked at his crew. "All hands to battle stations. Lock down all systems. As of this moment, we are at war." The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as the crew scrambled to their positions. Pulled up another screen, this one showing Earth in all its blue and green beauty. The Council had made a mistake. They thought killing one human would send a message. They had no idea what message they had actually sent, or what was about to answer. President Miller stood at the head of the table in the Situation Room, 300 feet below the streets of Geneva. The video played on the wall screen for the 5th time. Daniel Brooks collapsing, the Council laughing, turning away like he had just dealt with an annoying insect. Nobody spoke. The Joint Chiefs sat rigid in their chairs. Dr. Helen Carter, head of the Sentinel program, had her hands folded so tightly her knuckles were white. General, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, stared at the screen with the blank expression of a man who had already made his decision. "Play it again," Miller said quietly. "Ma'am," one of the technicians started, "we've all seen it." "Play it again." The video looped, Daniel's body hitting the floor, the laughter, the casual dismissal of a human life. Miller had served 2 tours as a Marine before entering politics. She had seen death up close. She had held dying friends in her arms, but this was different. This was murder dressed up as diplomacy. This was the galaxy telling humanity that they did not matter. "Protocol 7, she said, still watching the screen. "I need confirmation that we're ready." Dr. Carter stood. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes, but when she spoke, everyone listened. "The Sentinel program has been operational for 10 years. We have 43 vessels capable of faster-than-light combat. We have weapons the Council has never seen. We have soldiers trained for environments that would kill any other species in minutes. We are ready." "What's our timeline?" Miller asked. "First strike can launch in 6 hours, Carter replied. "Full deployment in 18. We've been running scenarios since the moment Ambassador Brooks left Earth. We knew this was a possibility." General cleared his throat. "Madam President, before we proceed, I need to say this. Protocol 7 means total war. Once we start, there's no going back. The Council will see us as exactly what they accused us of being: violent, dangerous, a threat to the galaxy." Miller turned to face him. "They killed Daniel in cold blood. They laughed about it. What do you think they'll do if we just accept this?" "They'll contain us," said. "Quarantine Earth, maybe that's enough. Maybe we survive in our own corner of space." "No," a new voice said from the doorway. Everyone turned. A young woman walked into the room, her eyes red but her jaw set. "No, we don't accept this." Miller said softly, "You shouldn't be here." Brooks walked to the table and placed her hands on it. She looked at each person in the room. "My father went to that council because he believed in peace. He believed in cooperation. He believed the galaxy could be better than our worst fears. They killed him for that belief. If we do nothing, his death means they were right, that we're just animals who should stay in our cage." "Your father wouldn't want war," said gently. My father is dead, said, her voice like steel. And the people who killed him think they can do it again, to anyone, anytime, because we're too weak to matter. So yes, General, I think my father would want us to make sure this never happens to another human. Ever. Miller looked at the young woman. Was one of the best. She had studied under her father and shared his passion for understanding alien life. But right now, all Miller saw was rage wrapped in determination. You're right, Miller said. This isn't just about Daniel. This is about every human who comes after. If we let this stand, we're telling the galaxy that human lives have no value, that we can be killed without consequence. She turned to Carter. What did you name the strike vessels? Carter pulled up a display. Ship schematics filled the screen. The S Vengeance, S Retribution, S Fury. 12 ships total, each one designed around a single principle, overwhelming offensive power. Show me, Miller said. The display shifted. Carter walked them through specifications that made even the hardened military officers in the room go quiet. The Vengeance-class ships were nightmares built in steel and fusion fire. They could accelerate at forces that would turn most species into paste. Their weapons could punch through shields that had protected Council worlds for centuries. And they could do it all while moving faster than anything else in known space. We reverse-engineered every piece of alien technology we could get our hands on, Carter explained. Then we improved it. The Council thinks they're dealing with primitives who just learned to leave their planet. They have no idea what we've built. Why didn't we tell them? One of the admirals asked. Showing strength might have prevented this. Because then they would have destroyed us, Carter said simply. If the Council knew what we were capable of, they would have seen us as a threat and acted preemptively. We needed them to underestimate us, and they did, fatally. Miller walked to the window overlooking the command center below. Hundreds of people worked at consoles, coordinating Earth's defense. She had hoped it would never come to this, but Daniel's death had removed all other options. Tell me about Arcturus Station, she said. General pulled up a new display. A massive space station appeared, bristling with weapons and surrounded by dozens of warships. It's the Council's primary military stronghold in this sector, over 50,000 personnel, enough firepower to crack a planet. It's also where they coordinate their fleet movements. If we hit it, we announce ourselves to the entire galaxy, Miller said. Yes, ma'am, confirmed. It will be loud, it will be violent, and it will prove that humanity is not helpless. Miller turned back to the room. Dr. Carter, I want Brooks assigned to the Vengeance as a xenobiology warfare consultant. If we're doing this, we need people who understand how to fight aliens without becoming monsters ourselves. Sighs widened. You're letting me go. Your father believed in doing the right thing, even when it was hard, Miller said. I think he'd want you there to make sure we don't lose ourselves in this fight. Nodded, unable to speak. Miller looked at the assembled leaders. 10 years ago, when we first made contact, we started the Sentinel program because we understood something important. The galaxy doesn't respect peace, it respects strength. We hoped we'd never have to use what we built, but they killed Daniel. They laughed about it. They think we're nothing. She placed both hands on the table. I'm authorizing Protocol 7. We're going to show the Galactic Council exactly what humans are capable of when you threaten our own. Rules of engagement? Asked. Disable when possible. Destroy when necessary, but no civilians. We're not going to become what they think we are. What about prisoners? Miller considered. Take them. Let them see what a Death World species can do. Then let them go home and tell the story. Nodded. When do we launch? Immediately. I want the Vengeance battle group at Arcturus Station before the Council even knows we're coming. Miller pulled up a communication screen. And I want to record a message. One that will be broadcast on every Council channel after we strike. They need to understand what they started. The room emptied slowly, officers heading to their commands, scientists returning to their labs. Brooks stayed behind. Thank you, she said quietly. Miller looked at the young woman. Don't thank me yet. What we're about to do will change everything. Win or lose, the galaxy will never look at humans the same way again. Good, said. Let them look. Let them see what happens when you underestimate us. In orbit above Earth, the S Vengeance began its final preparations. Commander Lisa Park walked through the ship, checking every station, every weapon, every crew member. The ship hummed with barely contained power. On Mars, hidden shipyards opened their blast doors for the first time. Ships that had been built in secret slipped out into the dark, their running lights off, their engines cold. They moved through the solar system like ghosts, gathering at the rendezvous point beyond Neptune. In the asteroid belt, weapons platforms activated, mines deployed. Defense grids that had been disguised as mining operations revealed their true purpose. Earth was going to war, and the galaxy had no idea what was about to hit them. Commander Lisa Park stood on the bridge of the S-Vengeance and watched the countdown reach 0. Around her, 12 other ships hung in the darkness of slip space, that impossible realm between dimensions where normal physics gave up and went home. 30 seconds to drop, her navigation officer called out. Lisa had studied under Daniel Brooks at the Naval Academy. He taught diplomatic history and strategy, always emphasizing that the best victory was the one you never had to fight. She wondered what he would think of what she was about to do. Then she remembered his face as he died, and her doubts vanished. All ships, this is vengeance. Weapons free on my mark. Remember, we're not here to negotiate. We're here to send a message. The slip-space tunnel around them began to shimmer and fade. Through the viewports, reality started bleeding back in. Stars appeared, then a massive space station, its lights glittering against the void. Arcturus Station, the Council's fortress, home to 50,000 aliens who thought humanity was beneath notice. They were about to learn differently. Drop in 3, 2, 1. The Vengeance and her sister ships exploded back into normal space directly inside Arcturus Station's defensive perimeter. Alarms shrieked on the alien vessels. Commanders scrambled to their stations, trying to understand how 13 unknown ships had appeared in the heart of their secured zone. They had 3 seconds of confusion, then Earth's weapons opened fire. The Hellfire Array, the Vengeance's main weapon, was something even Lisa found terrifying. It focused the output of the ship's entire reactor into a single coherent beam. The energy requirements were insane. The heat generation was catastrophic, and the damage it could do made nuclear weapons look like fireworks. The beam lanced out and struck the nearest Council warship. Shields that could withstand sustained bombardment for hours simply vanished. The beam punched through the hull, cored the ship from bow to stern, and exited out the other side, still bright enough to blind. The ship broke apart in silence, atmosphere venting in glittering clouds of frozen air. Direct hit, her weapons officer reported. Target destroyed. Next target, Lisa ordered. Around the Vengeance, the other Earth ships were doing the same thing. The Council fleet scrambled to respond, but they moved like they were underwater. Their tactics were designed for careful, measured engagements. Ship-to-ship battles that lasted hours, with both sides maneuvering for advantage while minimizing losses. Humans didn't fight that way. Humans came from a world where everything tried to kill you, so you learned to kill first and fast. The S-Retribution dove straight at a Council cruiser, ignoring the weapon's fire that hammered its forward shields. At point-blank range, it unleashed a spread of kinetic missiles. Not fancy energy weapons, just dense metal slugs moving at relativistic speeds. They punched through the cruiser's shields and hull like bullets through tissue paper. "Chief Engineer, I need more power to forward shields," Lisa called out. "Already there, Commander," Martinez responded from engineering. "I'm running the reactor at 130%. We're in the red across the board." "Can we sustain it?" "For another 20 minutes, maybe. After that, we're melting." "Then we finish this in 15. The Vengeance banked hard, pulling G-forces that would have crushed most aliens. The human crew grunted against the pressure but held their stations. Their bodies, evolved on a high-gravity death world, could take punishment that would kill softer species. A Council destroyer tried to intercept them. Lisa smiled. Launch the swarm. Bay doors opened along the Vengeance's hull. 1,000 small drones poured out, each one barely larger than a person. They weren't sophisticated. They didn't have to be. Each one was just a guidance system and an engine strapped to a fusion warhead. Kamikaze drones. The Council thought they were barbaric. Lisa thought they were efficient. The swarm descended on the destroyer like angry hornets. Point defense tried to shoot them down, but there were too many, moving too fast, too unpredictably. The first wave struck and turned the destroyer's shields into flash and static. The second wave hit bare hull. The destroyer disappeared in a series of overlapping explosions that lit up the entire battle space. On the Vengeance's science station, Brooks monitored her own contribution to the fight. She had designed biological agents specifically tailored to each council species, not to kill them, just to make them very, very sick. Deploying dispersal pods, she reported. Dozens of small containers launched from the Vengeance, drifting toward the station. When they reached the right positions, they cracked open and released clouds of engineered microorganisms. The station's air recycling systems would spread them throughout the entire structure within minutes. Council personnel would start feeling the effects soon. Nothing fatal, just severe enough to make them unable to fight. Humanity could be merciful even in war. Admiral, commander of the Arcturus fleet, watched his command fall apart around him. He was a species that had fought and won 1,000 battles over 2,000 years. He had studied warfare his entire life. He knew every tactic, every strategy, every doctrine approved by the Galactic Council. None of it mattered. These humans fought like nothing he had ever encountered. They used weapons that sacrificed defense for pure attack power. They flew their ships like they didn't care if they survived. They employed tactics that any sane commander would call suicide, and it was working. His fleet, which should have crushed these primitive vessels easily, was being torn apart. "All ships fall back to the station's defensive grid," he ordered. "We'll make them come to us." But the human ships didn't follow. They just kept destroying everything in their path, methodically reducing his fleet to debris. It was like watching predators hunt. Efficient, brutal, without mercy. "Incoming transmission," his communications officer said. "It's one of the human vessels." "Put it through," said. A human woman appeared on his screen. She wore a uniform he didn't recognize and looked at him with eyes that held no fear, no doubt, no hesitation. "This is Commander Lisa Park of the Earth ship Vengeance," she said. "I'm broadcasting this message on all council frequencies. 3 days ago, the Galactic Council murdered Ambassador Daniel Brooks in their chambers. They killed an unarmed diplomat who came in peace. They laughed about it." She paused, letting that sink in. Behind her could see her crew working calmly, efficiently, like this was just another day at the office. "This is Earth's response," Lisa continued. "We are not asking for membership anymore. We are not begging for recognition. We are showing you what happens when you kill one of ours. You thought humans were primitive. You thought we were weak. You were wrong." The transmission included footage. Daniel Brooks dying, the council laughing, dismissing humanity as animals. Then it showed the battle at Arcturus, the sheer devastation Earth's fleet was inflicting. "To every species in the Galactic Council," Lisa said, "we are not monsters, but we are not victims either. You want to know what humans are capable of? Look around, Admiral. This is what we do when you threaten us. This is what we do when you treat our people as worthless." She leaned forward. "Earth is coming, and we're not stopping until the people responsible for Daniel Brooks' murder face justice." The transmission ended, sat frozen in his command chair. His fleet was gone. His station was being systematically torn apart. And now the entire galaxy knew that humanity was not what they thought. "Sir," his tactical officer said quietly, "the humans are hailing us again." "Answer it," said numbly. Lisa Park appeared again. "Admiral, your fleet is destroyed. Your station will fall within the hour. I'm offering you one chance to surrender. Evacuate your personnel to the emergency pods. We'll recover them. No one else needs to die today." Looked at his screens. She was right. Continuing to fight would just waste lives. "I accept your terms," he said. "Wise choice," Lisa replied. "And Admiral, you're going to witness what comes next. You're going to see what Earth does to the Council. Then you're going home to tell them. Make sure they understand. This is just the beginning." The battle for Arcturus Station ended 47 minutes after it began. Earth's first strike was complete. And across the galaxy, 1 billion species watched the footage and realized that the balance of power had just shifted forever. 3 weeks after Arcturus fell, the Galactic Council was in chaos. Colonel Mitchell crouched in the shadows of a council supply depot on Prime and watched alien soldiers scramble in panic. They had no idea humans were already inside their perimeter. That was the problem with species that relied on technology. They forgot how to hunt. His team of 12 moved like ghosts through the compound. They wore suits that bent light around them, making them nearly invisible. Their weapons made no sound. They communicated through implants that turned thoughts into data. The Council thought humans were loud and clumsy. His team proved them wrong every single night. Target spotted, Lieutenant Emma Stone whispered through the neural link. Main power generator north side, 2 guards. Copy that, replied. Take them quiet. Emma and her partner moved. The guards never saw them coming. One moment they were making their rounds, the next they were unconscious on the ground. Emma placed a small device on the generator and armed it. Charges set, we have 3 minutes. The team extracted the same way they came in. Silent. Efficient. By the time the explosion tore through the depot, they were already kilometers away, moving to their next target. This was the third Council Worlds team had hit in the past week. Always military targets, always precise, always leaving before reinforcements arrived. It was driving the Council insane. On Earth, President Miller watched the latest reports with satisfaction. The Council had mobilized their reserve fleets, but they were scattered across dozens of systems, trying to protect everything at once. They didn't know where humans would strike next. Neither did their allies. And that was the point. Dr. Helen Carter stood beside Miller, reviewing data on her tablet. 16 Council species have already withdrawn from the Alliance. They're terrified they'll be next. How many remain loyal to the Council? Miller asked. 23, but their resolve is cracking. Intercepted communications show increasing panic. Miller nodded. The Sentinel program was working exactly as designed, not just to destroy the Council's military, but to shatter their unity. Fear was a powerful weapon, and right now, the entire galaxy feared what humanity might do next. Status on Ambassador. She's requesting asylum, Carter replied. Says she has intelligence on Council defenses and location. Was one of the few Council members who had voted against Daniel's execution. According to her message, she had been disgusted by his actions and wanted no part in the coming war. Bring her in, Miller said. If she's genuine, she'll be useful. If not, we'll know soon enough. 2 days later, Ambassador stood in the same situation room where Protocol 7 had been authorized. She was humanoid, with blue skin and 4 arms, her species known for their diplomatic skills. Right now, she looked terrified. Thank you for seeing me, she said through a translator. I know you have no reason to trust me. You're right, Miller said. Give me one. Placed a data chip on the table. Council defense protocols, fleet positions, communication encryption keys, and the location of Director's personal command ship. Carter scanned the chip, her eyes widened. This is real, this is everything. Why betray your own people? Miller asked. Because what did was wrong, said quietly. Your ambassador came in peace. He should have been heard, not murdered. I voted against his execution. I argued for diplomacy. I was outvoted and ignored. When the footage of his death spread across the galaxy, I felt shame. My people felt shame. The Council had become exactly what it claimed to prevent, tyrannical and cruel. Miller studied the alien, met her gaze without flinching. If I give you asylum, the Council will call you a traitor, Miller said. I know. Your own species might reject you. They already have, said. When I spoke out against the war, I was stripped of my position. My family disowned me. I have nothing left except my conscience. Let me help you end this before more innocent people die. Miller looked at Carter, who nodded. All right, Ambassador, welcome to Earth. Using Syntelligence, Earth forces struck deeper into Council territory. The S-Fury destroyed a major shipyard at Station. The S-Retribution disabled the Council's primary communication hub at Deneb. Colonel Mitchell's ground forces infiltrated the Council's strategic command center on Rigel IV and wiped their tactical databases. The Council was blind, deaf, and increasingly desperate. That desperation led them to Dr. Helen Carter's worst fear. Madam President, Carter said, bursting into Miller's office. We've detected a massive energy signature moving through slip space. It's heading for Earth. Miller's blood went cold. What kind of signature? Planet Killer Class, the Council's final weapon. If it reaches Earth orbit and detonates, it will crack our planet like an egg. The room went silent. This was the nightmare scenario they had feared. The Council, unable to defeat Earth's military, was going for the itself. Time to intercept, Miller asked. 36 hours, maybe less. Can we stop it? Carter pulled up simulations. Not easily. These weapons are designed to be unstoppable once launched. Multiple redundancies, heavy shielding, self-defense systems. We'd need to concentrate our entire fleet just to damage it. Then we do that, Miller said. If we pull our forces back to defend Earth, the Council will regroup. We'll lose everything we've gained. Miller stood and walked to the window. Outside, the sun was setting over Geneva. People went about their lives, unaware that their entire world might be destroyed in a day and a half. "What about the Nova Cascade?" she asked quietly. Carter's face went pale. "Ma'am, that weapon is untested. The calculations suggest it could destabilize a star, but we've never actually deployed it." "But it would work." "In theory, we target it at the Council's capital star. The cascade reaction would take minutes, maybe hours. The star goes supernova, the system is destroyed, and the Council's leadership is eliminated." Miller turned back. "Would it stop the planet killer?" "No, but it might convince them to deactivate it. Mutually assured destruction. They kill Earth, we kill there." "That's insane," General said from the doorway. He must have heard the alert. "You're talking about wiping out billions of civilians." "The Council is about to do the same to us," Miller said. "I'm just showing them we can respond in kind." "And if they call our bluff?" "Then both our worlds die," Miller said. "But at least we die knowing we fought back." Shook his head. "There has to be another way." "Find it," Miller said. "You have 36 hours." In orbit, the S-Vengeance received new orders. Lisa Park read them twice, then looked at Brooks. "Your expertise. Is there any way to remotely disable a planet-killer weapon?" Thought hard. "The Council uses neural-locked systems. Only specific individuals can authorize their weapons. If we could access those neural patterns, we might be able to send a deactivation signal." "Whose patterns?" "Probably Director's. He initiated the attack on Earth. His authorization would be in the system." Lisa pulled up Intelligence. "According to this, his command ship is at the border of Council space. He's trying to flee before we catch him." "Then we catch him," said. The Vengeance went to maximum speed. Behind them, the rest of Earth's fleet converged on the Council capital. The Nova Cascade weapon was armed and ready. All it needed was Miller's authorization. Time was running out. Earth had shown the galaxy its strength. Now it would show them its resolve. And somewhere in the dark, the planet killer continued its journey toward humanity's, counting down to extinction. The S-Vengeance dropped out of slip space 3 kilometers from its command ship. The Council Director's vessel was massive, built more for intimidation than combat. It didn't matter. Lisa Park had no intention of destroying it. "Hail them," she ordered. The response came quickly. His face filled the screen, his reptilian features twisted in rage. "You dare attack my personal vessel? I am a Council Director. I have diplomatic immunity." "Diplomatic immunity," Lisa repeated slowly. "Like Ambassador Daniel Brooks had when you killed him." His eyes narrowed. That primitive came before the Council demanding recognition his species had not earned. "He came in peace. You murdered him." Lisa leaned forward. "Director, I'm going to explain something very carefully. In the next 24 hours, either Earth dies or your dies, possibly both. The only person who can stop that is you." "What are you talking about?" "Your planet-killer weapon is on its way to Earth. Our Nova Cascade weapon is aimed at your star. When that weapon fires, your entire system will become an expanding cloud of plasma. Your colonies, your moons, everything. Gone." For the first time, looked uncertain. "You're bluffing. No species would actually destroy an inhabited system." "You were about to destroy ours," Lisa pointed out. "Why would we hesitate to do the same?" "Because you claim to be civilized. You claim to be better than us." "We are better than you," Lisa said. "Which is why I'm giving you this chance. Deactivate the planet killer, call it off. Do it now and Earth won't glass your." "I cannot," said. "The weapon is autonomous. Once launched, only the control codes can stop it, and those codes are protected by neural lock." "Your neural patterns," Lisa said. "We know, that's why you're coming with us." "I will do no such thing." Lisa nodded. "I was hoping you'd say that. Boarding teams, you're clear to proceed." Ship tried to run. It didn't get far. The Vengeance was faster, more maneuverable, and far more aggressive. Lisa disabled the ship's engines with surgical precision, then latched onto the hull with magnetic clamps. 20 minutes later, Colonel Mitchell dragged onto the Vengeance's bridge in restraints. The Council Director fought every step of the way, his species' natural strength making it difficult even for his enhanced team. "You cannot do this," hissed. "The Council will declare war." The council already killed our ambassador, Lisa said. We're just responding. She turned to Brooks. Can you extract what we need? Had set up a neural scanning rig in the medical bay. If I can get a clean scan of his brain patterns, I can synthesize the deactivation code. But it's going to take time we don't have. How much time? 6 hours, maybe 8. Lisa checked her chronometer. The planet killer would reach Earth orbit in 18 hours. Then we better get started. While worked, the rest of Earth's fleet surrounded the Council capital world. Admiral Gregory stood on the bridge of the Defiance, the fleet's flagship, and watched the planet below. Billions of aliens lived there. Most of them had nothing to do with Daniel Brooks' death. Admiral, his communications officer said, we're receiving hundreds of transmissions from the surface. They're begging us not to fire. Ignore them, said. His voice was cold. Open a channel to what's left of the Council leadership. A dozen alien faces appeared on screen, representing the remaining Council members. They all looked terrified. I am Admiral Gregory of the Earth Defense Fleet, he said. You have 18 hours to deactivate the weapon you sent to destroy our. If Earth dies, so do you. There will be no negotiation, no compromise. Deactivate the weapon or watch your system burn. We cannot, one of the Council members said, if remembered the briefing correctly. Director launched the weapon without authorization. We do not have the codes. Then find them, said, or millions of your people will pay for his decision. This is mass murder, another Council member shouted. You would kill billions for the actions of one individual. You were about to do the same to us, replied. The difference is we're giving you a chance to stop it. On the Vengeance worked frantically at her station. Its neural patterns were complex, heavily encrypted, and protected by biological fail-safes. Every time she got close to extracting the codes, his brain would trigger a defense mechanism that scrambled the data. This isn't working, she said after the 4th attempt. His species has evolved specifically to resist neural scanning. It's like trying to read a book that's rewriting itself. Can we force him to transmit the codes himself? Lisa asked. He'd have to do it willingly. The neural lock requires conscious intent. We can't fake that. Lisa looked at who sat restrained in the medical bay, watching them with cold satisfaction. He's not going to cooperate, Lisa said. He wants both our worlds to die. It proves his point that humans are dangerous. Then we need another option, said. Lisa's communication panel lit up. It was Admiral. Commander Park, we've got a problem. The planet killer just adjusted its course. It's going to reach Earth 4 hours earlier than projected. Lisa's blood went cold. That gives us 14 hours. It also means Earth is running out of time. President Miller is asking for an update on the deactivation codes. Tell her we're working on it, Lisa said. But they both knew the truth. Without cooperation, they wouldn't get those codes in time. Earth was going to die. Unless they used the Nova Cascade first. Lisa opened a private channel to Miller. The president looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. She probably hadn't. Commander, Miller said quietly, tell me you have good news. We have, but he's not cooperating. We can't extract the codes. Miller closed her eyes. Then we're out of options. Ma'am, we still have time, might find a way. In 14 hours, while a weapon capable of destroying Earth gets closer every second, Miller shook her head. I'm giving the order. The Nova Cascade fires in 6 hours. That gives the Council time to evacuate if they move fast. But their capital system is going to burn. President Miller, please. That's billions of lives. And Earth has 7 billion, Miller said. What would you have me do? Let our world die to save theirs. Lisa had no answer. Then Brooks spoke up. Wait, I think I found something. Everyone turned to her. She was staring at her screen, her fingers flying across the controls. Neural patterns are protected, but the planet killer itself has a secondary fail-safe. It's designed to abort if it detects certain environmental conditions that would indicate friendly forces in the target zone. What kind of conditions? Lisa asked. Specific energy signatures, transponder codes, the kind that Council ships broadcast. Looked up. If we can make the planet killer think there are Council vessels at Earth, it might automatically abort. Can we fake those signatures? With intelligence? Yes, but we'd need to get close to the weapon, close enough to broadcast the false signals directly into its sensors. Lisa understood immediately. A suicide run. Not necessarily, said. If we time it right, we can deploy the signal package and jump to slip space before the weapon detonates. And if we're wrong, then whoever makes the run doesn't come back. Lisa looked at her crew. Every one of them met her eyes. They all knew what she was about to say. I'll do it, Lisa said. No, Martinez said from engineering. You're the commander. The Vengeance needs you. I'll go. You're needed here, too. With respect, ma'am, I'm not, he smiled sadly. I'm 53 years old. I've had a good life. Let me do this. Lisa wanted to argue, but they didn't have time. Are you sure? Absolutely, said. He looked at. Just make sure that signal package works. I'd hate to die for a faulty design. 3 hours later, a small ship detached from the Vengeance. Inside, Martinez piloted alone toward the planet-killer weapon. In his cargo bay was signal package, ready to broadcast the moment he got within range. He had never been more scared in his life, but he thought of Daniel Brooks walking into that council chamber knowing he might not return. If the ambassador could face death with dignity, so could one old engineer. The planet-killer grew larger in his viewport. It was massive, bristling with weapons and shielding, beautiful in its own terrible way. Armed the signal package. Vengeance, I'm in position. Copy that, Lisa's voice came through. You can still abort. And miss the chance to save the world? Not likely. He took a breath. Deploying package in 3, 2, 1, mark. The signal broadcasted. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the planet-killer's sensors detected what they thought were council vessels. Friendly forces. Its programming kicked in. The weapon began its automated abort sequence. It's working, shouted on the Vengeance. Get out of there. But something went wrong. The planet-killer's abort wasn't a simple shutdown. It was rerouting its detonation, preparing to self-destruct rather than risk hitting friendly ships. Slip space drive is offline, said calmly. I can't jump. Then run, Lisa shouted. Conventional engines, maximum thrust. Not fast enough, said. He could see his instruments counting down. 5 minutes until detonation. He'd barely make 100 kilometers in that time. The blast radius was 10,000. He thought about saying something profound, some last words that would matter, but really there was only one thing to say. Tell Earth it was worth it. The planet-killer detonated. The explosion lit up space like a newborn star. When it faded, both the weapon and Martinez's ship were gone. On the Vengeance, the crew stood in silence. Lisa stared at the empty space where it had been and felt tears running down her face. Stand down from alert, she said quietly. Earth is safe. At the council capital, Admiral received confirmation. Planet killer destroyed, threat eliminated. He opened a channel to President Miller. Ma'am, Earth is secure. Miller sagged in her chair. Call off the Nova Cascade. Stand down all forces. Hesitated. Ma'am, the council still needs to answer for what they did. They will, Miller said, but not with more death, not today. She opened a broadcast to the council capital. This is President Miller of Earth. The threat to our has been eliminated. In response, we are offering you terms. The Galactic Council is dissolved, effective immediately. A new alliance will be formed with representatives from all species, including humanity. Species involved in Ambassador Brooks' murder will face trial under a new system of galactic justice. These terms are not negotiable. The Council had no choice. They accepted. Within hours, new negotiations began. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had proven itself not just powerful, but willing to fight for what mattered. 6 months later, Brooks stood in the rebuilt council chamber. It was now called the Galactic Assembly. Her father's hologram stood at the head of the table. Dozens of species sat in attendance, listening as she opened the first session. My father came here in peace, said. He died because you feared what you didn't understand. Humanity showed you what we're capable of when provoked. Now let us show you what we can build together. She looked at the assembled species. Some still feared humans, others respected them, all of them listened. This assembly is built on one principle, continued. Every species has worth, every voice matters, and no one will ever again be killed simply for asking to be heard. The galaxy agreed, and though the cost had been terrible, peace finally began to take root. On Earth, they built a memorial to Daniel Brooks and Martinez, two names carved in stone with a simple inscription beneath. They proved that humanity protects its own, always.